Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. So I've been out and gathered a few resources. So if we go up and have a look here, we've got a little bit of cobalt and it's currently refining that. We've got some iron, we've got some nickel, we've got some silicon as well. I actually managed to find some silicon. And we've got some silver and yeah, that's about it. So I didn't bother collecting any magnesium because we don't really need that right now. Now, something that we're going to have to take care of pretty early is we only get a really, really small amount of uranium to start with. So we really need something to supplement our power supply. Now, by default, it sets these guys up as semi-auto, which is generally pretty fine. Yeah, so that's kind of working at the moment. But what we really need to do is to get some renewable power. If I go and grab a little bit of each of these, I can't remember what we need for solar panels, but basically what we're going to do is go and set up some automated solar. Now, one mod that I have added in between is a autopilot mod called ARMS, or autopilot. I can't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but basically what it allows you to do is a couple of things. So, firstly, it is obviously first and foremost an autopilot, but it has a couple of things built in which are useful for, for things which are not just, piloting a ship. One of those is the ability to automatically point solar panels at the sun. Now, we should need one of these on the ship as well, I believe. So we need to go and place a block for that. So we have this autopilot block. All right, and it's a decent sized block, but it's going to be worth it, I think. Now, you can actually get scripts to do this, but the scripts can be a little bit problematic, and I found that the autopilot just tends to work. So we need a whole bunch more components. We need construction components, motors. We need more of everything. We need computers. Probably need some metal grid. We'll have to have a look. So we've got a few resources, so we should be able to make whatever we need for this. You see, it does take a little while to weld. It does need some detector and radio communication components too. So we might have to go and make those with some of the resources we gathered. So we need, I need another like 20 interior plate and 30 detector components and 5 radio components. So we should have the detector components. We got some of the radio components. So we need like let's do some more interior plate, and we'll just queue up 100 construction components because we usually need lots of those for all kinds of things. So we'll pick up what we've got here. See if that's enough to finish off what we're doing. No, we needed the construction components next, and we actually do need some more detector components too. So let's queue up some more of those. All right, we'll come back to that anyway once those parts finish producing. So basically the way that the point at sun works is it can work on 2 different axes. So what we're going to do is we're going to place down a block, square block here. On top of that, we're going to put a rotor. So let me grab that out. Okay, and this is going to be our left-right orientation. Then on top of the rotor, if I can build myself some scaffolding to get up high enough. So on top of the rotor, we're going to put another block. Then we're going to put a rotor on the side. Like so. All right, then we're going to put in another 2 blocks. So one like that, and I'm going to use my jetpack to get up here. And then one like that. And then on top of this, we can put our solar panels. And we can stack them as high as we want to, basically. I'm just going to build one more sort of block here just so I can get out of the way. And if we can get these spun around the right way, like so, actually it looks like we might need one more, just one higher. All right, so we're going to build one there. And we'll eventually make this even bigger. But this works for now, and I'll use my jetpack to get across here. And we'll put one on this side as well. Actually, we'll leave it this way around, just so that it kind of it's on the same side. All right, now we just, of course, need to get all of these welded up. That one might be a little bit awkward to reach where it is, so I will put that there, just so we can kind of reach everything to weld it up. So I'm going to go and weld all of this up, and I'll be back with you shortly. Alright guys, welcome back. So I've finished welding up the solar panels on the roof here, and you can see that they've already gone and oriented themselves. And I'll show you how that's done. So, I mean, you saw me build it, but basically we've got a rotor at the bottom that allows you to do the left-right. We then have one block just to give it a bit of spacing. We then have one rotor up the top, which allows it to tilt forward and backwards. And as you can see, it's already tilted back a little bit here. Then if we go down and have a look at the configuration here. So we have one solar panel, which is tagged with face sun. It's important to only do one of them. Then with the two rotors, so I've set a minimum and maximum on this rotor, so it can only tilt between -15 and +15. And then this bottom rotor is configured just unlimited. All right, the key thing is just put the braking torque on each of these to maximum so it stops. And you can see this one's currently at 282 and this one is currently at -14, and it's moving it around a little bit. Now, the key thing here is that face sun, and in combination with the autopilot block, all right, it will automatically go and adjust the rotors, both rotors, doesn't matter what they're called. It just goes and looks at the part hierarchy and works out that, okay, to turn this to face the sun, I need to play with these rotors. Now, the way it does it, it kind of starts out by moving the solar array really rapidly in whichever direction, and then slowly starts to kind of bring the speed down as it finds that sweet spot where it gets the maximum sun exposure. Now, at the moment, no, I think we've actually gone to one of the poles. That's what it feels like at the moment. So it's trying to orient towards the sun, but I can't even actually see the sun in our sky. I think it looks brightest over there. So but that apparently is not where it is. It's either that way or that way. Either way, it reorients itself to get the maximum power output. All right, now if we go and actually look at what we're getting. So at the moment we are getting 0 kilowatts, and that's because our batteries here. All right, we need to now set these to be like this. And that should, yeah, see now we're actually using the power from the solar arrays. So it means we get a lower maximum possible amount of power, but the batteries will actually recharge during the day. And I'm actually going to go in here and it's still got a tiny bit of uranium left. I'm going to turn it off, and we're just going to try and run completely on solar power. Now that might not work out too well to start with. Yes, it's actually depleting the batteries at the moment. So we actually need more solar panels than that. So we'll go and build. So the great thing with this is we can easily build it out further. It's a little bit tricky to get to. So what we probably have to do is kind of stand up here, and then we can build a new solar array on top. In fact, we'll probably have to. Yes, it's a little bit awkward to build, and I don't have the parts I need anyway, and I just ran out of fuel. But we can go and extend this. So ultimately, I'll probably extend this out to be 2 or even 3 panels long, and then 2 or even 3 panels high. So we'll keep expanding this, and because it's able to point it to the sun, no matter the time of day, we get the maximum power output all the time from those solar panels. Really, really amazing thing. Now, it can be done with scripts, but I find that this autopilot mod does it so much better than any script I've tried. You know, it just takes complete control over the rotors. There's no, you know, things around, you know, having to get the correct panel names and things like that. If you've got multiple arrays of, you know, multiple solar arrays, it will quite happily go and to manage all of them independently. You just need to make sure from each group you have a single solar panel flagged. So yeah, there's a few more solar panels to build. I'll go ahead and do that between episodes. Now the next thing we want to start having a look at is actually getting a small mining ship up and running. What have I? Okay, I don't really have much in the way of materials. Let's go and swap in some materials. And we'll grab the interior plate as well. And we'll grab some small and large steel tubes. And that should allow us to build, or at least to place, just about everything. So we'll go ahead and we'll build a small ship here. And we'll kind of build this around I guess a medium cargo container, as this is going to be a fairly small ship. So yeah, we'll build this around a medium cargo container. We'll go like that. Actually, no, we won't. So the key thing I want with this ship is it needs to be able to dock up to a connector. So we're going to orient it so that where are we? Oh, try again. We're going to orient it so the large connector that you can see there is on the bottom, which means it's also on the top. So if we wanted to dock underneath, like into a connector above, we can do that as well. So the other things we're going to need for this is we're going to need some drills, and we could use the twin drill. They're basically twice as many resources, but they're also much larger coverage area. So I think we will do that. We're going to need a conveyor, a small conveyor in particular. And we're going to need some small conveyor tubes and probably some curved ones. Now for control, I just took it off the list, but I think we're going to use a passenger seat. So this will be an atmospheric one where we sit outside and remote control again. All right, so let's work on that bit first. So I think actually what we can do is probably just 3 conveyors there, and then we can put the twin drills there, and we'll try and keep this, you know, pretty compact, at least as much as possible. So we're going to need some atmospheric thrusters, of course. We don't need the cargo container anymore, so we'll go with a large one for vertical thrust. And we'll use smalls for the rest of it. So we don't need a lot of thrust going, you know, forwards. So that should be fine like that. But we do need a lot of reverse thrust, because it needs to be able to compensate for, you know, for us basically pitching a long way down. And then we need a little bit of vertical thrust, of course. If we can get the right keys. So we need probably only one, just giving us thrust. Actually, yeah, we'll have to be careful. All right, I'll do 2. We'll make it in symmetry, and I'll take the one in the middle out. And the reason for that is just so that if we need to, or sorry, if we actually pitch over a long way, these can actually operate and give us some. Yeah, so if we pitch over a long distance and we need to kind of move down a little bit, this thruster can help us out. So I think what I'll do is we'll put a block of armor in the middle there. And we'll attach the thrusters on the outside of those. Okay, so we need a little area to put our seat. So I'm going to build something like that, and then we'll need to bring our seat out a little bit. Now the question is by how much? So it's pretty big. It's actually very big. This is the downside of actually trying to build a passenger craft. Is they're actually fitting your player character in. It takes a lot of room. So we're actually going to need to go back a little bit further, but we do need to place batteries as well. So why don't we work on that first? So we'll put one there, and I might put one like that. Now we don't really want to be sitting right in front of the thrusters, so actually let's move those thrusters back. All right, that should actually give us the room to put our seat. So if we build off, say there, then we should be able to put our seat there. Perfect. And we'll build 2 blocks off of this side as well. I'm not sure what we put on the other side. These drills probably should come out a little bit further as well. Just thinking, like, because we've gone a little bit wider than I'd like to. So yeah, we'll kind of extend this out a little bit. So we'll just use some conveyor tubes because they're a little bit cheaper. Oh, I had the wrong curved conveyor tube. We actually need this one. Okay, now I'm pretty sure this had a connection on the back. Yes, it does. Good. Just good idea to be certain about that. Okay, so that should work a little bit better. Now the twin drills have actually got a really large kind of harvest area, so I think that's going to work just fine. So we've got 6 thrusters on reverse. We've got 1 main big thruster down. We've got a couple of batteries. So there's a few other things we need. We're going to need an ore detector. That's just a straight up, it's really useful to have on a mining vessel. We're going to need an antenna. Right, because this is again going to be a remote control craft. We're not going to have an actual cockpit on board. And then of course we do need the remote control. Now, where can we fit this that's not going to look horrible? You know what? We can probably put that, sort of right up front here. That's, yeah, right there's good. And it wouldn't hurt to have a camera either. All right, because our point of view is going to be kind of off-centered. So we'll have a camera up front here. And it's probably worthwhile having a reversing camera. So we'll kind of spin that around so it's the right way up. So we've got a reversing camera there as well. That can come in handy. And I think because of the battery positioning, our connector is going to be on top. So we'll actually dock. We'll dock into a overhanging connector. We got anything else that's missing? We don't have power generation on here, so this is going to be reliant on the base for power. So we'll kind of dock it in with the battery power. We'll let it charge up, and then we'll kind of take it out. I think that's going to work. We don't have left, right. That's all that's left. So let's go and throw those on there. We'll put them. Yeah, I think we'll put them on the back here. I think that's going to work. So we'll have our 2 to the right there, and yeah, like that. And we didn't put our forward thrusters back. We don't need too many of these, because the hardest part of this is kind of the Had a little bit of a load glitch there. So yeah, the heavy lifting is going to be done by that main thruster. So we'll just put a couple of them here just to kind of help it out for forward. But like you know, we don't need to go all that fast forward. You know, it's more important to have reverse than it is to have forward. I think that's going to work just fine. We can probably clean up the design a little bit with some armor blocks and some sloped armor blocks just to kind of make it look a bit nicer. But from a functionality standpoint, you know, this should work just fine. Maybe we'll put some blocks like that. And like that. Just that will also help a little bit to protect some of the goodies there. Now the only other one that's really helpful is a small shield generator. Now the only problem we're going to run into with that is that we need shield components, and I think for shield components we still need platinum. So yeah, unfortunately, let me just confirm. Yeah, we need platinum for shield components. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to actually use shields for quite some time. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and weld this up. So I'll be right back with you once I finish welding it. All right, guys, we're back. So you can see we've got the little mining ship built up here. There's a couple of things for those of you who were probably paying attention. We did forget about gyroscopes, so I've added those. I've also set up a group. So we've got a flight group here, which contains the gyroscopes and all of the thrusters, so we can shut those down to save a little bit of power. So before we can really use this thing, though, there's still two things we need to sort out. We need somewhere for this to dock and recharge. And we kind of need to start tearing down parts of our lander ship to get components. So I'm going to do a little trick, which you can see I've already kind of set up here, where you can use merge blocks and a station which you built against the ground locally to actually turn your lander ship into a station that's fixed to the ground. So to do that, we basically do what we've done here. So we set up two merge blocks that are nice and close together. And then if I go back up into the ship here and you see, you may have noticed on the bottom, I already cannibalized two of the thrusters to finish off that little mining ship. So we want to get this done now so we can actually pull apart the other thrusters as we need the parts. So we're going to jump in here. This is, you know, still flight worthy for the moment. And we're going to go like that. I'm going to turn the thrusters on. We're going to disengage the landing gear, and then we're just going to ever so slightly kind of fly up and just kind of get these merge blocks within range, and the view should snap back to the cockpit once we get it to merge properly. All right, how are we going? All right, we're slightly that away. Whoops. Yep, that's not what I want. There we go. All right, how are we looking? So we need to go that way a little bit more. And down. Oh, this is kind of hard to control from this sort of camera. We've gone all the way to, we've listed all the way to the side as well. Okay, there we go. And because I've lost some of those thrusters as well, that doesn't help. All right, so we need to go to the right. Why are we kind of, we're ever so slowly pitching down. Hang on, let's sort this out. All right, like that. Now we're level to the horizon. And come on, left. Yeah, so we kind of don't quite have enough. I'm not sure what's actually happening there, but something's kind of messing it up and making me pitch even when I'm only doing D. Well, we do have dampeners on, of course, otherwise we wouldn't have been floating. All right, come on. I need to get across to that merge block. All right, now let's go and line this up on the horizon. Oh, I think that was the merge block grabbing. Yep, okay. So now, there we go. We just merged. So that just snapped back into the cockpit without me doing anything. If we go out here, we should see both of these are bright green, which they are. Awesome. So now this is actually a station. And what we can do is, yes, I got the thrusters running. We'll get rid of those in a moment. So we can go in here, and if I can get the angle just right, we can extend the ramp out. Apparently it doesn't. Oh, hang on. I did that the wrong way around. There, that's the way we wanted it. Like so. Alright, so because it's a station, we can actually now build into the voxel terrain, which is really helpful. And now that is actually anchored. So we could actually just go and straight up remove those, but I'll probably do a little bit more to kind of make it look a little bit more secure. So now let's go in here. Let's shut down the thrusters. Yeah, so the moment kind of we're anchored in here, where I have built that into the terrain, and here. So we'll probably go and do a little bit more than that, but now we can actually tear down this thruster. The landing gear can all go. Basically we can start cannibalizing that ship to build ourselves a better platform. But the next step is actually let's go and do just some quick anchors here, just to make sure that it's kind of well and truly secured in a couple of places. It's really hard to get the right angle to build underneath there. It doesn't want to let me. There we go, got it. So we'll do, if I can, I'll get kind of the same spot here. There we go. And that should be fine. All right, if we weld those up to prevent accidental removal. And you may notice I also built a better welder just to kind of allow me to do this stuff faster. So yeah, this is the highest one I could build at the moment. There we go. So that'll be nice and secure, and we can now easily dispense with the landing gear. In particular, we can get rid of these merge blocks, which is good. I mean, they're not terribly expensive, but we can use the parts. Alright, so yeah, the next thing we need to do is to get somewhere to dock up our landing craft. So what we can do is we can kind of build something off this existing conveyor. Now, I don't believe there's anything... Well, there's an engine in the way, so I don't really want to build it on that side. So I think we'll go out the back. I think that will work fine. So we'll just tear down this. And tear down this. Alright, cool. Now we'll do a conveyor tube. So we need the conveyor tubes, and I need a curved conveyor and a connector. This will be a little bit awkward to build, but we'll do what we can. Can I put a... can I get one in there without falling down? Nope. Nope, that didn't work either. Alright, let's, yeah. It's a little bit tricky to try and build off the edge, I found. It can be done, it's just really, really tricky. Oh, I had it. There we go, got it. Okay, so we need the conveyor tube going down. And I actually need another... Indeed, basically a build area just a little bit further down. So if we do a ramp there instead. All right, then I should be able to build the connector that we need if I can, like, not fall off like that. So yeah, we will have the craft sort of floating in midair, but I think that will work just fine. So if I can get down this ramp without actually falling, it's really awkward, isn't it? What about? Let's do this instead. That didn't work. Yeah, I do have hydrogen available. I'm just not kind of using it at the moment. Probably should. Cool. All right, now I can build there. We can get rid of that. And I can build there. If I can get the right key, there we go. All right, brilliant. So now we just need to weld this all up. And I'm probably going to need to make a few more parts to do it. But that's okay. Got most of the way there, just a few more motors. Yep, so motor, construction components, computers, and small steel tubes. Okay, computers, construction components, small steel tubes is that one. Yeah, just getting a few load pauses in the game, which is a little annoying, but it's all right. And a few more motors. Which we might... Oh no, we're okay. I thought we might be able to... Oh, I did actually have motors. Cancel. So let's get this built up. Okay, I need more construction components. So that's what we can build. We can actually access it here. So let's queue up 100 construction components, which is all iron. Iron a little bit low on. Hopefully we'll be enough. Hopefully it'll be enough. We've only got... Yeah, we only got 500 iron. Wow, it's another load. That's weird. I haven't had it mess up this much. Yeah, something's not working right. I think someone might have updated a mod. I mean, the mods I'm using, I've used them and many more in a game and not had it pause this much. So there might be an update to one of the mods that's kind of broken things. I don't know. We'll have to work that out. Oh, 2 more construction components. There we go. Great. So let's jump down here and get rid of these. Not the one I'm standing on. In fact, I'm going to take this one out. I'm actually going to drop down to this one and then take this out. And that gives me a little bit more clearance to that connector. It's probably... Yeah, that's really close actually. I should move that out one more. Yeah, so we'll move that connector out away from the ship a little bit more. Maybe even bring it down a bit. In fact, if I just used a piston, that would probably work pretty well. Can I, like, jump and... Nope. Yeah, so I think if we put a piston there, then we can bring it down because that's really high up at the moment. We don't really need it to be that high up because whatever ship is there, we need to be able to get back onto it. So I think what we're going to do is we'll just put that there. Build this guy there. I'll get rid of this. And then hopefully can build another ramp there, which I can. All right. So we're going to take this one out. Hopefully I've got enough room. Yep, we're fine. All right, so we'll put a piston here instead. All right, just going to go like that. All right, and I don't really want to remove this one, but I think I'm going to need to. And we'll put a block there. Really kind of need to get below this. How am I going to do that? I guess we're going to have to build... Yeah, I think I know I'm going to do it. All right, I'm going to do that. Then we're going to grind out this wedge. Grind out this. And then we're going to put a block there, like that. And then if I can get the right angle... I had it for a second there. Really doesn't want to work. Oh, hang on. There we go. Brilliant. So we just need to weld up the piston head, basically. Like so. Oh, I need more large steel tubes. Huh. All right. So now we can, well, we can extend that piston anyway. And that will let us put the connector on the end of it. So I'll extend that out by 2 meters. That should be fine. So if we go to the piston, set the max distance to 2 meters and just set the velocity kind of going. Now inventory, we need large steel tubes. Hopefully I've got enough to do the connector as well. We're going to find out in a moment. Oh, it's not quite far enough, but I can reach that now and I can make it longer. So the piston, let's take it down to... There we go. Brilliant. All right, so that's all the way there now. So the connector's quite long, which is why, you know, I'm not too worried about that. Oh, I had another pause. That's really weird. I have to make sure I'm running the latest version, see if I can debug what's causing that. All right, now if I can... I'm not going to be able to access that, am I? All right, so I'll run around. We'll bring that back up probably to around 2 to 3 meters should be fine. If we had an antenna on there, we could actually do it remotely, but I don't have that at the moment. So the piston, we'll reverse that. And we'll set the maximum distance to, oh, let's try 2.5. It'll at least be high enough for me to fine tune. Actually, I think that's fine where it is, because our craft is not that tall. So we'll go and fly that around and land in. And yeah, that should get it done. So we're going to go into remote control. We're going to go to camera view. We're going to do that. We're going to turn our flight controls on. And whoop. Whoa, what happened there? What broke? So the connectors, the drills are still there. What the heck? That was directly connected. All right, that's weird. I'm not sure what broke there. Oh, the container blew up apparently. All right, we're going to reload that. That's weird. Well, and unfortunately a reload doesn't help because it actually saved right when this happened, so that's not good at all. Right, that's really weird. We didn't collide with anything, right? Because we went straight across this way. You know, there was nothing to collide with. It just detonated for no reason. As far as I can tell, there was absolutely no reason for that. All right, if this ever happens to you, I'm going to show you a little trick So normally in creative mode, you don't have access to, sorry, in survival mode, you don't have access to any of the creative things. So of course you need to manually construct all the parts to get things to happen. You can do this though. You can press Alt and F10 and do this enable creative mode tools. And then you can go into, you basically get your unlimited jetpack, so you can fly around no matter what. And then you can basically use that to restore back to where you were. So we're going to go and grab a, no, that's the wrong one. We want a medium cargo container. So I'm just going to rebuild this really quickly. So we kind of already knew what we had there. It was one of those we can already see most of what's there on the ground. And the trick is that if you don't really want to kind of cheat with this, is you need to make sure that any parts you're going to have, you know, kind of get back, or any parts that you use here, you need to right click to remove them. So that's one of the great things about creative mode is you can right click to remove parts. Okay, so we got the container there. Okay, so we had a remote control at the front. Right there. Then we had a camera right there. So you can see it's compensating as I'm adding weight. It's compensating and adding the extra things. So, all right, we also had a bunch of small thrusters there. And there, and there. Now, I think all the other thrusters are present. Right, we've got the up-down thrusters are there. All right, everything else is present. The only thing we're now missing is the landing gear. And this is not strictly necessary since this should never really be touching down. But we will put it back on just because it actually can be useful from time to time. So we'll put that there, and then we'll just go down here and we right-click to remove all of these parts, and we don't get the resources back doing this, and that's intentional because really I'm just recovering from where, you know, things kind of broke for no apparent reason. So then we'll jump back in our craft, we'll turn creative mode tools off, and then hopefully we can go back in here and get this guy docked up to where he's supposed to be. I had that cargo container around the wrong way. I just realized. We also need to put a connector on this, which is something I didn't do before. But we can work around this. Like having the cargo container around the wrong way is actually something that's fixable. So what we'll do is we'll touch this down very carefully, like so. We can turn our flight controls off, and I'll show you how we can fix this. So we're not going to rotate the box. What we're going to do is, because we've already got a cargo spot there, which we're using. So what I'll do is I'll go back in and I'll actually grab the hydrogen so I can jetpack up there. Because we always had it on board. I just haven't sort of bothered. All right, there we go. Full hydrogen. And what we're going to do is go to the tab here where we've got the connector. And it costs us a few extra parts to do it this way, but it's going to work just fine. We're probably going to have to remove that or move that remote control as well. But that's all right. We can make it work. So what we do is we put a connector up here. And I'll need to grab some construction components. Great thing about having this connector now is I can actually just run up here. And we can just grab the construction components. And we're going to have to remove this remote. And we can put that back again underneath. So just right there. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll put a small conveyor tube here. I need some interior plate. Because I don't think we had any... Oh, no, there actually was some left. Never mind. And then we'll put a curved connector up here. Okay, and that will actually be connected to the conveyor. All right, and it's gone green, so we're good to go. Let me just put all of these back in the system. And then we'll go and actually get this docked up. So flight controls on. Remote control. Open the third person view here a little bit and disengage the landing gear. And we can just sneak in. We might actually have to move this connector up. It looks like it might be a little bit too low. Maybe not. Yeah, it is just a little bit too low. So let me just jump out real quick. And we'll move this up. So we'll set it to... If we move it up like a ½ meter, that's probably fine. So I need the piston. We'll set it to reverse and we'll bring it up to like a 2.0. That has creeped up a little bit, but I think there's probably not quite enough clearance. So we'll go up to reverse. Let's go to say 1.5. So we'll go back to our remote control. Open the third person view, and then we can kind of line this thing up. There we go. That's perfect. So, yep, straight up. And once that engages, we just press P to lock. And then we can turn our flight controls off. Sweet. Now that will just hang there. The magnetism on the lock is more than enough to, or the connector rather, is more than enough to hold that there indefinitely. The only time where it doesn't work is if it loses power. If it loses power, then it will very badly break and it will just basically fall. So we're going to set those to recharge. It's going to take a few minutes to fully recharge. And we do need to sort out the solar power situation still, but I'm going to do that between episodes. But yeah, that's kind of a little basic atmospheric miner. And you know, should help us go and get the resources we need to keep building. So yeah, that's it for this episode. These episodes are going a little bit longer than I planned. So let me know how you feel about the episode length. I was kind of aiming for around 20 minutes, but they've ended up being more like 45 minutes each, because you just don't seem to get a lot done in 20 minutes. So yeah, let me know how that goes, and if you think it's a bit too long, we'll try and trim it back into 20-minute episodes, and you know, we'll find some way to break it up a little bit more. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, have a good one, and until next time, you know, take care of yourselves.